Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of It Came from the Discount Bin. I am your co-host, Andrew Walker, and today we have...
And say, with me as always,
Alexa. Alexa.
I love you correcting him. Mickey Jackson.
And I believe our fourth guest on this show, Mr. Jonathan Ross. I've known this kid since he was like 5.
You're vintage.
Hi. Yes.
Welcome, sir. We're very happy to have you on the show. Today we're going to be talking about 4 horror films, and everybody who knows you knows you're a big horror aficionado. You have your own, what the kids call a weblog, I think.
Yep.
3:33 a.m., which you can find on Instagram. Tell us a little bit about why you started that blog years ago.
I guess I started it because I had this idea that I should write things. Even though I've never really enjoyed writing things, I find it satisfying but excruciating. So I graduated from Oakland University in their English department. Go Grizz.
Go Grizz!
And so with that degree, I was following my heart. I really didn't think through how, what I was going to do with that professionally afterwards. So I think I've always had this idea that, maybe I can turn it into, writing. I like the intellectual side of things. I loved English when I was in school.
Me too.
So when thinking about what I should be writing about, in terms of blogging, people suggest finding your niche, find a little thing that you're passionate about and know a lot about. And so rather than just broadly writing about movies, I decided to narrow it down to horror movies because...
Murder. I love it.
I love horror movies.
Right. And I know you're very sociologically and politically interested in society and like to look at that angle of things. And a lot of horror films... They get
into some deep stuff.
But in a
society-wise,
but in a goofy, sometimes goofy,
correct,
or horrific way.
Yeah.
But there's like Dawn of the Dead is a critique on capitalism and consumerism, and there's all these things that people try to creatively make the audience think about, and it's always very interesting. And horror, it just has that very specific type of way of doing it, and it brings out through your emotions, and we are glad to have you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
You graduated with Alexa at OCS 22 years ago, something like that. Was it, you guys, 2005?
2005.
Yep.
Wow. 2 years after me. 30 years after Mickey.
3,000 years. 3,000 years after me.
Well, yes.
So you're a vampire.
That's right.
We're very, very...
That's how I stay looking so young.
very happy to have you on, sir.
Have me on your show.
Our first movie we're going to talk about is Fright Night, which is what Mickey picked.
Love.
1985, directed by Spider-Man, Tom Holland. No, that's a different Tom Holland. He wasn't born then.
No, definitely not.
Why did you pick this movie, Mickey?
So when I was a kid, I loved this movie. It was one of my favorite horror movies just because it had a couple of different elements. I liked how they made the vampire look scary at certain points, like when he was injured or when he was, getting ready to feed or certain things. The best friend, like his creepy laugh, and I liked the Vincent Price type character because that was something I used to watch on Channel 20 or whatever. They had the horror guy, and I would watch those on Saturday or Sunday or whatever day it was. And
his name was Peter Vincent, which I think it's got to be Peter Cushing and Vincent Price put together.
Right.
Yeah. Very creative.
So I just thought it had a lot of comedy aspects to it. It had a lot of things that I really liked. So I was like, okay, I feel like this is a good play.
And a lot of it was actually pretty creepy, like you said.
Yes.
That one scene where it zooms in on the vampire when he's on the phone and talking to Charlie, and it zooms in.
Yeah, it did have a couple of those
several
creepy
scenes where I was like, oh, this is actually pretty scary.
And what was really creepy to me was when he'd have his fingernails out. You could see their extension, so his fingers are actually 10 inches
One
long.
of those end scenes where he's standing on the stairs and his fingers are creepily too long.
Yeah.
It was oh god. Ugh.
Yeah, this is one of those movies that I only saw for the first time last year. Maybe it was the last year or the year before from a previous podcast I did. But it was great, and it's one of those movies from the 80s that's like, I think it's a good companion piece to watch along with like The Burbs.
It had the similar vibe
right.
to it.
Yes.
The neighborhood is featured a lot. The house next door type of thing.
He's got his binoculars. He's watching the neighbors. He's watching next door.
Yeah, I think I read in the IMDb that it was filmed on the same backlot as The Burbs.
Was it?
Probably.
Yeah, it feels like there's a spiritual connection, but also
too.
physically was filmed in the same spot.
Jonathan, when did you first watch this?
Oh, God, I don't remember when I first saw it. It had been some years ago, which I think realized when I started rewatching it that I was like, okay, I have forgotten a ton of this movie. So I don't remember exactly, but I remember liking it. I will say that I think on rewatch, I like it less than I remember, perhaps, but I'm still kind of like working through that. But it might have something to do with the what Alexa referenced at the top of the show, which really threw me. I for some reason I don't remember that clicking in my brain.
I don't either.
For me, I was really having a great time until we got to the club scene, and then he just went full steam ahead. I was like, oh, okay. It seemed like an odd choice. Like, if you're going to go that hard with it, you could have made them young adults. Or you could have kept her 16 and just taken her, because what else was she going to do? You could have just taken her.
Yeah. I think when you're like, 800 years old, back in the day, you used to take child brides, so maybe he thought it was okay for his stint in the 80s, maybe.
Then they were, I feel like they were trying to make it like humanize him a little bit, that, oh, she was like the reincarnation of his lost love. I'm like,
yes.
Let's just say if it were made today, she would have been a little older.
She definitely would have been at least a senior in high school.
So that kind of put a damper on it for me for the after that part, because I was kind of changed the tone for me.
Sure. Jonathan, you said you watched the remake of this. It came out, I think, 2011.
Yep.
With Colin Farrell. I do not remember this movie coming out, and I thought I would have.
I watched it as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought I would have remembered it, but maybe it didn't get a lot of promotion or something. I don't remember. With Colin Farrell being a pretty big name, but how was it?
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was subpar, but it wasn't terrible.
No, I actually think it's better. I think for a lot of people, I would guess that it's probably better than people would expect, actually. I think it's pretty entertaining.
Wasn't he going for the mom? Did he want the mom?
Yeah, who's played by Toni Collette.
Yeah.
Oh, see?
Yes, although he kind of pivots from her. He really is just kind of reaching out to grab anyone he can get. But he is, It's
a different vibe, but it was good. And I really like Colin Farrell, so I will.
It's actually quite a good cast. I didn't remember that Anton Yelchin was the lead.
Yeah.
And Imogen Poots, who feels like she never really maybe fully broke out, but is at least a recognizable actor.
The only thing I'd seen her in was 28 Weeks Later, and then on our text thread you had mentioned that she was in Green Room, which I hadn't seen, but I had to look up to remember it was some neo-Nazi A24 movie.
Yes.
With Patrick Stewart and the aforementioned Anton Yelchin. I think that was his last film.
Okay, there's that Yelchin. Wow, the Yelchin Poots connection. I love Green Room is one of my all-time favorite horror movies.
Okay.
It's extremely. It's like
I'm gonna have to add that one on my list.
Very brutal realism.
I heard it was brutal. Yeah.
So it's really unsettling and violent. So that's kind of the trigger warning. But I think it's really well done. Great acting. Patrick Stewart is possibly the only time he's played a villain. That's why he took the role, is because he was excited by the idea of just playing someone who is just evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, the vampire in this one, he was in Child's Play and Princess Bride, which are also two of
Chris Sarandon.
my
Princess
favorite
Bride, of
movies.
Is he related to Susan?
Would not say such things if I were you.
Yeah, he's great. Also, he's just so handsome.
Yeah.
He has great hair.
He's a real
just has
stud, that guy.
presence.
Yeah, he does. And that was part of it too when I was a kid. He was a very good bad man vampire.
Yes.
He played that part well.
Yeah, his whole thing would have worked on me. I would have invited him in.
And the friend is by far my favorite. The kid, and I don't know that he was in much else.
Evil
I kind of
Ed.
tried to look it up. Yeah.
He was in some adult films.
adult films.
That's what his Wikipedia said.
No kidding.
Which was interesting because I thought his acting was
he
was in the
in
alley.
the moment and in the alley when he was
like,
crying and like when he would really get into character. And his laugh and just
when he's in the bed wearing a Raggedy Ann wig. That was one of my favorite moments of the whole movie.
And him turning from the wolf back into a human. That whole scene there.
They went hard on that.
It was very graphic,
It felt like he was transforming for like 10 minutes.
It was a little too long,
almost as long as the end fight scene.
But
which I never thought the vampire was going to die.
Yeah, that was a lot.
I read, Andrew, to your question earlier, that Susan Sarandon, they were married and she took his surname. Is what I was reading on Wikipedia, if I'm remembering correctly.
I had the same question and just never looked into it.
I like to look at Wikipedia while I'm watching these.
I like to too, usually. All right, any last thoughts on Fright Night?
I just want to say, I do have a thought, and that is that the lead actor, the kid, I hated him.
Yeah.
I didn't like him, and I didn't like his performance. I would have switched. The person who played Evil Ed, I kind of wish he was the lead. For some reason, he just had more juice to me.
Yeah.
That kid, he didn't.
And I feel like maybe they wanted this kid to be vanilla, but I think he was too vanilla.
Yeah.
Like he was way too vanilla.
He was the weakest performance,
I do have to say that at the end, the teeth that ended up being part of the actual movie's photo, like her big teeth.
That was scary.
That, as a kid, was disturbing to me, and I was reminded of how I was disturbed by it when I watched it. But also the zombie familial man turning into goo at the end.
Oh yeah, that was
also very graphic and about 5 minutes too long.
But a lot of that and other things, a lot of really cool practical effects. That
Correct.
like iconic,
for back in that day,
the creepy smile that you're saying that's on the cover, the goo stuff that seems the stuff that they, I think, filmed like in reverse or whatever. It did have a lot of cool practical effects.
It reminded me of Raiders when their faces are melting.
They're melting,
yes. Yeah, that's what it reminded me
very
of.
reminiscent of that. Charlie Brewster. That's his name.
Brewster. Brewster.
Yeah, he just was so one note. He was like yelling the whole time. I'm like, stop yelling. I understand it's a stressful situation, but
and no one believes you. However,
he just had like one thing, and he did that the whole time, and it was driving me crazy. Yeah. Everyone else was great.
Yeah, the mom was actually great too. She was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And where was she the last
she
quarter
worked
of
nights.
the movie?
She had told him, "I'm working nights." And actually, Raggedy Ann said he was working nights.
That's right. That's right. Left the note.
Let's go on to Jonathan's pick, The Lair of the White Worm.
Good gravy.
From 1988, based on a story by Bram Stoker.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, from 1911. I don't know if that was supposed to be a comedy, the story that he wrote, but the director, Ken Russell, turned it into one. It's a supernatural comedy horror film. Jonathan, how did you find out about this film?
I found out about this while watching an excellent horror documentary, I think on Shudder. Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched is the name of it. If you're into folk horror at all, I think it's really fascinating. It cites a ton of different horror movies.
Do they talk about Eggers the Witch? Or was it made before that?
I don't know if it gets as modern as that, but it might. I don't remember. It does roughly chronologically trace, a lot of these kind of like folk horror stories. And I think not even just movies, too. It kind of like goes outside of cinema, but it's mostly cinematic representations of different sort of like folk horror stories. And Lair of the White Worm, they had a few clips in there and talked about it for a bit, and it just looked absolutely insane. And I was like, I need to watch this. And then I think even for this rewatch for this podcast, I forgot kind of that it was directed by Ken Russell, who's an English filmmaker who's very, he really likes to push buttons. He's very controversial. I've seen one or two of his other movies. The Devils was very famously given an X rating and heavily censored and banned in multiple countries.
Oh, wow.
And actually has a lot of similar sort of transgressive iconography with like the nuns, bad things happening to nuns and crucifixes and all that.
Okay.
And I actually copy-pasted this quote from him, which is a direct answer to your question about whether or not this is a comedy. And this is just like copy-pasted from Wikipedia, but Russell insisted that the film is a comedy. He said, audiences don't realize my films are comedies until the last line has been delivered. And even then, most people don't appear to get the joke. I would like to state that I actively encourage the audience to laugh along with White Worm. So there's your answer.
I did find some parts laughable, and other parts I was just like,
Yeah.
what is happening right now? Like, this is crazy. But it made me want to follow it along because it was so crazy. You know, sometimes you get like bored or you look away. You know, it's like, no, there was no looking away. There was no missing anything. Not at all.
So that guy, Ken Russell, he did the Who movie, Tommy, 1975.
Right.
Which I've never seen. He did Altered States, which I have not seen, but it's on my list of strange movies to watch.
Yeah, I think that's the only other movie of his that I have seen, but it's also been many years, so I don't remember it super well. But
Okay.
I think that's his only like kind of sci-fi type movie.
That's what I think too. So this has the very popular Hugh Grant, who got popular romancing Julia Roberts in the mid-90s in at least one movie, probably more than one movie, right?
Notting Hill.
Notting Hill.
Yep. And then what was the other one? Bridget Jones. So that was the Bridget Jones stuff he was really huge in as well.
And then one of the doctors from Doctor Who, Peter Capaldi. I've never watched Doctor Who. I just know that he was in
I
that.
saw that too, yeah.
I don't know any of the other people on the list.
The girl that was in it, the one that played the Lady Sylvia, she was in Liar, Liar. She was the lawyer that he banged and said, I've had better.
Yeah.
The one that then started going after him.
Right.
Because I was like, where have I seen her from? What is she from? And I looked it up. I was like, oh, my God, that's
Yeah.
it.
She's incredible in this movie,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
She is really good. And I do like
got-
her as an actress. And I hadn't seen her in anything else except something that you probably all have never heard of. It's called L.A. Law. It was a TV show
I feel
back
I've
in
heard
the
of that
day.
before.
So it was
Right.
like
That's
Suits.
probably Ray because Mickey and Ray
We are movie twins, right?
like know all the same things.
So L.A. Law was basically like the late 80s, early 90s version of Suits,
Oh,
if that
yeah.
makes any sense.
Sure.
So legal drama, they're all dating this and that, a lot of cutthroat stuff. But I was like, oh, yeah, she was in that.
Okay.
Lady Sylvia has swag and style, but she's nasty.
Yes,
She's
she spits.
nasty, but
Yeah,
she's
spitting-
a fashion icon.
Yeah,
Her outfits in this
And
are
the glasses.
incredible.
yeah. I
Yes.
liked the whole
scarves.
slick back and the thing
mm-hmm.
too when she was in her whole Viper-esque.
Yep. A lot of tall boots.
Yep. And to go with the humor aspect, I did love when they would play the snake charming music, like
And
when
she
he was.
straight up came out of a snake basket.
And he was running around with that,
Me
the
and Ray were
bagpipes,
laughing.
and the cop with the googly eye is going like, and I'm like, okay, I love this. This is funny. It
Yeah.
is funny.
That was
and
a
it's
great
meant to be
gag.
funny.
Speaking of villains trying to entice underage people, this movie has a reverse of what we talked about.
Yeah. I
Yes.
was like, and now Lady Sylvia with the Boy Scout.
Yes,
Yeah.
half of these movies have extremely problematic age gaps.
Yes.
And,
But I feel
Here
like
we
the
go again.
80s, again, the 80s, there were a lot of things.
A lot of boobs.
A lot of boobs.
yeah.
There was a lot of nudity, but there was a lot of like, we're okay, we're going to touch on this. And we're all just going to be okay with it because,
They touched on it.
yeah, we touched on a lot of things.
Yeah.
She bites the kid, and he just kind of
She paralyzed him.
she's like, your lungs will
Yeah.
I
she
do
went,
think-
stop working, and then he just like goes
She went
underwater.
through the whole paralytic thing. Well, I
Yeah.
think she was going to sacrifice him, and then she was like,
Right.
oh no.
Well,
now I
somebody
have
came to the door.
Someone came to the door, so she's
You know how
like,
it is.
yeah, she's like, I'm actually putting you. She basically was like, I'm putting you out of your misery.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye. I do think as weird as one of the more problematic scenes in the movie, I think it was my favorite scene. She is so incredible. The way I've just
Yeah.
like her whole presence in that and her movement and how she just kind of casually decides to use her heel to just push him into the
Yeah,
tub.
and to go with your weird, child vibe thing. I don't know if anybody else caught this, but when Hugh Grant came in and she had that board game out, and he said, "Do you have children?" And she said, "Only when there are no men around."
yeah.
That was
I was like,
kind of weird.
"You're creepy."
And we got to talk about that scene with the cross
Let's just go right into it.
and the Roman soldiers and the white snake or white worm, whatever it is, curling around the cross.
That
There
was
were
a lot.
Just the visual quality of the scene itself was very different from everything else in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's record this on a shoulder VCR camera,
Yeah.
and we'll insert it through the rest
And
of the
because
movie.
she was supposed to be having some sort of a flash, like a memory or something, I'm guessing, the young girl, like she was supposed to have this flash. It was like, I think that's what was meant for it to be chaotic, but it was very chaotic and very aggressive and very cool. On a disturbing level, but very cool.
Yeah, and then at the end with the big nasty snake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The big nasty snake.
The big nasty snake.
Yeah, this was my kind of movie. I'm glad you brought it up, Jonathan. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I like the whole aesthetic of the manor and just
Oh yeah,
yeah, I liked all of that.
And it flowed well too. Like it didn't get like, okay, this is taking too long or whatever. It kind of, I didn't understand, and maybe I was just not paying attention well enough, why Hugh Grant was just in the cave and not helping them with everything. Like why he was off in the cave doing like spelunking and trying to figure things out in there.
Yeah.
While they were all fighting at the house. I must have missed that.
That confused me too, especially even on the rewatch. I had to I turned on
Okay,
the
so now I
sort
feel a
of-
little bit less
Yeah,
dumb.
the closed captioning. to catch. I was confused. I was like, how does he go off? And then that big climax happens where the sacrificial, the human sacrifice goes wrong. He drops the grenade into the worm's mouth. And then Hugh Grant just comes waltzing out of this cave, like ready to go down to the pub. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but what did you do? You didn't do
Yeah,
anything.
he saw the
But
smoke from the cave and was like, oh, I guess they're handling everything for me. Cool.
when I paid closer attention to like their dialogue in that scene, because you can miss it super easily, he basically smoked out the snake. So the reason the snake came
He
up
was at the
to
other end of the tunnel.
He was at the other end.
'Cause they're
And so he's
connected.
like,
Got it.
this the cave
Got it.
is connected
Yep,
to
got it.
The man.
the
He was
temple,
forcing him
House,
to
temple
them.
house.
Got
temple
it.
house, yeah.
Okay.
And so he kind of forced they smoked the snake out basically.
Yeah.
Pushing him into that wherever that was under temple house or
Got it.
but yeah, because that confused me too. I was like, I don't understand the
Yeah.
connection with what you're doing here
Right.
exactly.
And we did touch on that the girl who was tied up, the actress, is actually royalty. She's a Yugoslavian princess.
I was reading that too. I was reading
So
that
that was interesting for the podcast. I was like, oh, there's always a little something that jumps out at us. And
And I guess she was supposed to be nude in that scene, but didn't want to be nude. So
Yeah.
she stuck to her guns.
it's the
and
kind of thing that can maybe get your crown tarnished a little bit, right?
yeah, Princess of Yugoslavia
Yeah.
appearing nude in this
Nude.
movie is probably not a
Yeah.
While being
I was
sacrificed.
already worried
Yeah.
that she was going to get impaled in an area with that
Yeah.
long wooden
Oh yeah.
stake that Sylvia had. I was like, oh, she's gonna, okay, nope, don't do it. No, she didn't do it. And then she almost did it again. I'm like, don't do it. No, you're gonna do it again, aren't you? And she didn't do it.
yeah.
I was like, oh. And then I realized at the end she was just gonna spear her through the stomach with it.
Yeah. It definitely felt like it was going to go that way.
It did feel like it was gonna go that way.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts on this before we go on to the next movie?
Glad to have seen it.
Yes, me too. I will definitely recommend it to other horror aficionados. Let's go to Alexa's film, Critters. Now, Alexa, was this the first time you've seen this movie? When you
Yeah.
mentioned it? What made you
Yeah.
pick it?
Well, in a very typical fashion of how these things go for me, I didn't pick it. I picked it for this podcast,
Oh.
yes, but when Ray and I were up north, and what we usually do when we're stay at that place is we just watch silly movies on Pluto. And so, of course, he knew this movie, and
Of course he did.
picked it.
Of course you did, right?
Then we said,
Of course you did.
then we started watching. I was like, oh, this will be a good one for the potty.
Yes.
And I was from the beginning with they're in space, and
Oh,
I
that's
was
so
just-
weird. Yeah.
I was locked in.
Now, I have never, although I've seen this before, I'd never seen the beginning.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's because, growing up when I did, you couldn't just watch a movie whenever you wanted. So I would catch this
Right.
movie a lot when it was already on, so I wouldn't get to see the beginning. So I had no idea about the beginning. I just knew they were bounty hunters and they were chasing them, but I'd never seen the beginning, which was
Oh, okay.
pretty fun.
What'd you think about Billy Zane and his rat tail?
William Zane.
Billy Zane.
Rat
He's always
ponytail.
circling back in the podcast.
That was technically a ponytail, I think.
Oh, technically, okay.
I mean, I think it's not. It wasn't much of a ponytail, but I made note of that. Billy Zane. I always get so excited when I see Billy Zane. For some reason, I don't really know why, but I do. And he had a little ponytail. Arguably, maybe shouldn't have. I don't think he had quite enough hair to pull off a ponytail, but.
Now, not too long ago, we talked about Gremlins on this show, and this movie came out, I think, just right after, right?
I feel like it was
after.
a little bit of a not a spoof off it, but kind of a little bit. Like I think.
Oh, it feels very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Dante did Gremlins, who also did The Burbs. Yeah.
Right. So I also sensed, I mean, it definitely feels kind of like similar to Gremlins, but I think I read afterwards that this was written before Gremlins.
It just didn't come out until after.
Yes. So I don't know what happened in terms of production, but something about it delayed it, or just, movies take a long time to make sometimes.
Right.
That's what it says. Yeah, it says, although widely believed to be inspired by Gremlins, the script was actually written by the Muir around 2 months before Gremlins went into production.
Right.
And then they underwent rewrites to try to make the movies not as the same.
Yeah.
But I think there was probably just a lot of like parallel thinking going on there
Yeah.
in the early mid 80s. Like, all right, horror's big now. Horror's been big now for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, the
Let's-
mom, that mom in there, she was like a big catch for them because she was in a lot of good horror stuff. I mean, she was the mom in Cujo.
Right.
She was in The Howling, Hills Have Eyes. She's the mom in E.T., which I thought was funny because one of the critters did eat the E.T.
Yeah, bit the
doll.
head off of E.T., yeah.
She was in
yeah,
Devil's
yeah,
Rejects. She was in Halloween, I think 2007.
Yep.
But I was like, okay, let's go
Dee-
Dee Wallace.
Dee Wallace, that's right. I remember seeing her name a lot.
And that's
yeah.
just some of them. Like when I was looking through her list, I mean, tons of
Big list,
horror
yeah.
movies and things.
Yeah, she's great. She brings the goods, man.
She does. She's good.
Yeah, so this movie starts off with some extraterrestrials who are sort of
Cretins.
Yeah, sort of human-like, and one of them sort of creates himself to look like a rocker.
star.
I can't remember who that's played by, but
Oh, Terrence Mann. So here's another fun fact for us because we all love Pee-wee. Terrence Mann was Snowball the Clown in Big Top Pee-wee.
I read that
okay.
as well. I didn't remember him from the movie,
I didn't either. I
but
had to
I
look
read
it up.
that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Johnny Steele.
Johnny Steele.
That's the rocks.
Another guy with gray hair, yeah.
Yeah, this movie was a lot of fun. It's your typical goofy mid '80s movie. Looks like it did okay at the box office. Well, they made it for $3 million, but it made $13 million. What else do you have to say about it, Alexa?
I mean, it was fun.
It's fun.
But then at a point, I'm like, what are the bounty hunters even doing? Like, they're not very good at this.
The kid was way better.
Yeah, and they're just meandering around. And when they busted into the church service, that did kind of make me laugh.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
And the gremlins, not the gremlins, the critters when eat the firework, and that's how he kills them. And then the one rolls into the toilet.
Yeah.
I'm just like
I
little
like
funny.
their funny things, or the scene where they were almost like having a pajama party in the son's room, tearing the pillowcases
just
apart and
making
just
a mess.
playing around in there. And when the one was like, they're talking to each other with the subtitles, and he's like, they have weapons, and he was like, so what? And she opens the door and blasts the one. He goes, oh fuck,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they run off. I mean, like some of the things they said and like their little things were funny, and I think that's why it ended up being kind of a cult classic because, like we were saying, Critters 2 was definitely, at least in my age, way more well known than the first one. Like people watched that one a lot.
Okay.
And then there were all these spin-offs to it too. There were a bunch of different ones afterwards. So I think people liked that comedy coming from the critters themselves, like the mayhem, just the idea of these things rolling around and shooting barbs at people and eating their faces off, and it was a lot. My most unbelievable moment is when the house got rebuilt at the end.
Yeah.
In true 90s cinema
like
fashion.
batteries not included.
Exactly. Oh, that's a great movie too.
Was that kind of reversal tool they had? Was that from the aliens? I'm assuming. Did they give it?
Yeah,
to them?
I think when he gave him that thing, because he called him, like it bleeped,
Yeah.
and then he hit the button, and the house started rebuilding.
Okay, yeah.
But-
I sort of missed that, I think.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember him taking like a tool off his belt or something and saying, call me.
Yeah.
But I also didn't, so that tool also somehow
rebuilt the house.
reversed their house
Yep.
being completely
And
destroyed.
I have to say, of explosion scenes, when the critters blew up the house, and then when that alien ship blew up too, I'm like, that was an epic explosion. For like the 80s, that was a great explosion scene.
Yeah, I wrote down a note. I was like, they really did not skimp at all. Like, I think most of their budget went to that explosion. Feels like.
Yes, that was one of my favorite parts that I did not remembered from watching it before. I was like, oh yeah.
And Chewie the cat made it.
Thank
In
you.
the mailbox.
Thank you. I kept
Right.
worrying about that cat too. I'm like, he's gonna be the first to go. Nope. He made it.
I think what made me like this movie was how it's this very like idealized version of like the nuclear American family on like their homestead.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something, it's like a time capsule of
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
like an imagined place in like U.S. history, but also through the lens of like a schlocky 80s horror movies with all these
Right.
practical effects. And I just I think I watched it on a night where I'd had like, I don't know, was just like exhausted and worked a lot, and it was just like comfort food. I was
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
this
Yep.
is the perfect thing to be watching
And you
right
really,
now.
when you think of like small town stuff, that's what you think of. The bowling alley is the big thing on Saturday night. Everybody's there, or the people that don't drink are at church, or, if you live out on the farm, you're going to have to, call the neighbor. And if the neighbor doesn't have a phone, you got to ride your bike for help.
Yeah, the slingshot and everything.
The
It's all
slingshot, the
kind
whole
of
business.
wholesome.
Yeah. Him
Yeah.
making, homemade bombs with firecrackers in his
Yeah.
bedroom, climbing out the window, down the tree. Oh, did you guys catch? Okay, so I thought this was funny. I'd never noticed it before any of the times that I watched it. The chief, when he answered the phone at night, he had a little picture of Dolly Parton pinned on the wall behind him. Like,
I
it was like
noticed that.
his bed and him, and then in the back of the frame, there's a picture of Dolly Parton pinned to the wall, and then his nightstand and his lamp. I was like, that's hilarious. Like,
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I
yep,
didn't
I was
either.
like, oh, Dolly Parton.
All right, so we'll go to the last movie, 1987's Blood Diner, which was my choice. I saw this movie for the first time probably like right around New Year's, like beginning of the year. And I've seen a lot of weird movies in my life. This movie's got to be in the top 3.
Andrew, up till now,
so
this is
weird.
number 1 in the craziest shit I've seen in a horror movie. Like, I couldn't even, like, my mind was just going 1,000 miles a minute. I'm like trying to process everything I'm seeing, and it was just, it did not disappoint in its wild factor, or its nudity factor, or its gore factor, or its, the absurdity factor. Like when he hits the guy on the back of the head, the security guard, I'm guessing, for the, and his eyeballs pop out. They just fall into the dirt.
I always wondered, are those the eyeballs they use for Uncle Anwar when they put his brain in, or did they use Uncle Anwar's eyes?
I would guess his eyes were not still wet and whatever.
Who knows? We don't
But
know.
that's a good question, because I didn't actually see them retrieve the eyeballs.
You're asking canonically within the movie itself, the fiction of the movie, did they use his eyes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's answered.
Yeah.
Didn't even cross my mind.
So this movie starts off like in the 1960s with these two boys at home alone because their mother leaves to go get some tampons at the supermarket.
She says, "Kids, where are you, shitheads?" That's my first thing. I was like, first thing writing down, very first thing that happens. Mom's calling them shitheads and going for tampons. Love it.
And then their Uncle Anwar busts through the front door with a meat cleaver. It turns out he's on the run from the cops for killing the Glee Club girls, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I lost my life and genitals because of Glee Club girls. Also, like the third thing I wrote down, I He said he had on the radio thing too when they were talking about it, they said he has a meat cleaver in one hand and his genitals in the other. I'm like, what is actually happening?
And it was a preface of what was to come.
Yep.
So he gets shot when he walks outside. The cops just light him up. 20 years later, these two kids, these two brothers are digging his body up in a graveyard. Security guard comes around, say, hey, what's going on? He gets hit in the back of the head. Both his eyeballs just fall out. And then they throw his body around like it's a rag doll, because it is a rag doll that they use. They dig Uncle Anwar's brain out of his skull, and it's somehow still fully intact.
It kind of just pops out, too.
Yeah. Just bloop.
Yeah.
And it's sentient, and it's animated, and it talks. And he tells them that they need to prepare a blood buffet. Not buffet. Buffet.
Buffet.
The blood buffet.
The blood buffet is part
For
of
the
the
Lumerian-
whole,
the Lumerian feast.
Yeah, ritual. It's a whole specific ritual.
And he tells them they have to get a bunch of different
Sluts.
body parts from sluts.
Yep. Body parts from sluts. Or whores. I can't remember. I think it was sluts.
And then they need to put it together to build Shitar,
Shitar.
the goddess.
Hail Shitar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
so-
I was trying to figure out why the topless cheerleaders were topless cheerleading and doing aerobics.
They're just making a video.
The question answers itself.
Yeah, like, I mean, because they can.
Right.
And I love how
But the virgin was not there.
that they were looking for.
Yep,
that they
She was friends with them,
She was friends with them, but she
not
didn't
there.
go.
I love how every time the police were cleaning up one of the horrific crime scenes, they were never using any kind of PPE.
No
No.
They're
gloves.
just-
Nope.
Yeah.
Just picking up.
Raw dog.
The one
Yeah.
guy punched him in the stomach. The other guy, the guy making the tongue, like doing
Oh,
his
yeah,
tongue
that-
at the female officer. Did you miss that part?
When
He was standing there looking at him, and he just kept going.
Oh, the other detective.
And then it'd pan to her, and it'd go back to him, and he's still doing it.
Yeah, and he's doing his tongue just like a little bit different.
Just a little different. And I'm like, what's happening right now?
And notice the female detective, her accent kept changing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like there's like a little bit of English there, maybe a little.
Like Indian or something.
I
I don't
don't
know
know,
what it
but
was.
it
It was
was
definitely switching
going-
around. Yeah.
This is not a
This
real,
thing went off the rails like 12
This is
times.
not how a real person sounds.
No.
Then we just gotta briefly talk about when the two detectives are in the other diner scene, the
Wild.
other diner, and then there's a dude sitting there he's like a puppet or a dummy.
It's a puppet.
It's not a real person. He's sitting there, and his name's Valentino, and he has this high-pitched voice,
He talks like this.
and he has a lit cigarette in his hand.
And they're talking to him like he's a person.
Like he's a person.
And he's eating a bowl of chili or something. And then he gets a bug flies in his face. And the
guy
owner sprays bug. He's like, thanks, Fred, or whatever. I'm like, what is happening right now?
And
And then he ended up again. He was in a couple scenes. He was in the diner once, and then he was in the
in
back
the
of that
car.
car.
Back of the car, yeah.
Don't go in there. You're gonna get in trouble. I wouldn't do it if I were you. I'm like, that probably was one of the most terrifying aspects of this
absolutely.
for me by far.
So Alexa and I watched it together last week, and I was like, I can't wait for Alexa to see this. It's gonna just
What was your impression?
What
when
was
you
your
saw
impression,
that?
Alexa?
The movie in general?
No,
or
Valentino.
Oh, of Valentino. Well, I had a bit of a precursor because you had sent me some clips of this a while ago. But confused.
And she said, "Did they run out of money at this point? they couldn't pay somebody $100.
Yeah.
and they just had to put a dummy in,
know-
a puppet.
I was wondering. I think when I was rewatching one of the clips that you sent me, it almost looked like the cook, the other guy in that diner, was almost like ventriloquist talking.
I feel like I thought
he
that at one
was.
point too. Yes,
I
I
thought he
feel
was,
like
but
he
I could be wrong.
was.
So, my whole thought about it is what
This
is their
makes
relationship
sense
or their
because wasn't he the
connection?
guy that went in that he was saying don't go in there, blah blah blah, because he was going to steal a
Because they
recipe
kept
or something?
every time they were together.
Yeah.
So I was like, is this just his like little
Well,
ventriloquist
somehow I was
dummy?
Or was he supposed to be a real person in the movie?
I think he was.
Yeah.
I think he was a real person.
In the movie.
We are actually confused.
Yeah,
we think he's
that's
a dummy, but that's
possible.
Valentino's a real dude.
I mean, there were so many things like that club, the nightclub. when they went in there and their outfits, and it just
and that weird music that was like almost like trying to put those people in a trance.
Yes.
And the whole wrestler, the Jimmy Hitler.
That
was a whole other like B plot that had nothing to do with
it. It was just a random thing.
Why
to
are there so many
confuse us
Hitlers
further.
in this movie?
Yeah, and then
the wrestler, the musicians.
This, again, with the 80s, there's nothing we couldn't touch here. I think by far my favorite scene, though, was when he was battering up that chick.
Oh, yeah.
And put her head in the deep fryer, and she came out with a head that looked like a deep fried mushroom.
Yeah.
And then he knocks it off with a broom. And then her friend tries to escape, and she drops her purse and goes back for it. I couldn't leave my purse. She goes back. Oh, everything dumps out. No, we're just going to pick everything up. And then he hacks her in half with a meat cleaver.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, you would probably leave the purse at that.
You would definitely leave. And I think they're like, okay, they're making her look even dumber. Cool. I was like, this has got, and I looked up fun fact, not fun. Okay, I shouldn't say fun fact.
No, it's fun.
The actor who played Michael died 2 years after this movie.
Alexa told me that. I hadn't read that.
I was like, what he died? I didn't see what he died from either. It didn't say. Did you see what it said?
I had to go into search for it a little bit, but a car accident in Hollywood.
Oh.
His friend was drunk and left him at the scene, and he died.
Oh, that's actually
terrible.
terrible.
He was the passenger, and the friend fled.
Oh, well, aren't you an asshole?
Yeah, he was the only person that I see that has a Wikipedia page.
I think it's the.
I don't think any of these other people worked after this movie.
I don't think many did.
Was the other? I think it's Georgie has the Wikipedia page. Because I was reading about that, and Georgie had an interesting trajectory in Hollywood with this weird club that he opened, like the. Lady character from the band Guar played there, and just all kinds of weird stuff.
Did I see that the uncle was also produced or did some other real weird movies like these? Or the uncle that got shot with the meat cleaver in the genitals hand.
Uncle Anwar and his endless verbal abuse.
I remember it was very late, and I watched these two really crazy movies in a row, and I was looking things up, and I feel like I'm a little confused, but there were some wild movies that were like this movie afterwards.
And where did Uncle Anwar go in the last quarter of the movie?
There's a spot where he's there, and then he's just not in the movie anymore. Yeah. It's not explained. So
his brain went into Sheetar. Yeah, he put his brain in Sheetar.
You're right. I forgot about that.
In the car, in the van.
Yeah, because I remember he reaches in and the brain is only this big. It's really small.
It's like the size of a McDouble.
Yeah.
I just forget about that.
Sheetar's going to have a hard time. That brain is old and really small.
Yeah, she was terrifying with her teeth and her chest.
When her belly opened up and was also cool. Teeth, that was and she had those pointy, sharp teeth, and that green stuff kept coming out of her mouth.
Yeah.
It was all very cool, but very disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
I think that scene was just completely unironically pure cinema.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And her shooting that really fake electric shock and blowing through people's heads and... making their brains explode. And why did everybody become zombies? Because they ate the
There was that stew they made of
that
the
they
body
were
parts.
making. So they all turned into zombies because of that. Okay.
And then Georgie got so mad that his brother got killed, and I'm like, you don't say.
Yeah. And that cop.
Of all the killing that you've been doing this entire movie.
Yeah. And he gets his head eaten.
And then Sheetar steps out on Hollywood Boulevard, and a dude pulls up. Hey, you want to come over to my place tonight? Yeah.
Which is interesting because maybe I'm missing with Critters, but the other three movies all kind of ended in a similar fashion where it's alluded to the monster or the
correct. That is actually true. Right? Yep, because Critters had babies.
Okay, that's what they all did.
Fright Night, the friend laughs and over next door, and we saw the eyes. And then
Lair of the White Worm.
Oh, at the end, he was.
He gets a phone call saying this was not the
right serum.
The right serum. What you took helps with
arthritis.
Arthritis. Yeah. And so
every
them
one of them did. Now that you say that,
this little scene at the end just to say it's not over.
Yep. A little teaser.
That's like in The Mist. Remember at the end it ends with
yeah,
the guy like swinging the sword towards the camera.
Swinging the sword towards it. Well,
no, not The Mist. The Fog.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say The Mist was different.
Well, because The Mist had a pretty like infamously dark ending,
Bless
but
you.
a little different than what we're talking about. Wait, The Fog by John Carpenter?
Yeah,
Directed
The
by
Fog.
John Carpenter?
Because that movie. So I just think a lot of the '80s movies they just end that way. There's no.
They give you a little.
Yeah.
They want you to like. We could do another one. We could have a sequel.
Well,
Maybe, maybe not.
I feel like that lived past the 80s too. I think for a long time, potentially almost up until now, maybe not as much, but people almost expect you can't. I think that became a thing where you couldn't end a horror movie on a uplifting note. It felt like it kind of felt like maybe the producers or whoever thought the people who watch these movies want something a little darker.
Yeah,
Sure.
To the point where it almost became predictable or like you would be waiting for that little thing of saying not quite yet. It's actually a darker ending. Which is mostly, I think fun.
I think it's fun. I had one last part that I had to write a note about with this. When the guy and the girl are in the cave, first of all, they show her total 80s hairy whatever. She's completely naked. And I'm like, that's aggressive. I've not seen a movie in a long time that's done that. But then she gets up and kicks the brother's ass with karate. And she's going to get away
fully nude.
And a stalactite falls and impales her brain.
Right.
I'm like, and nope. See, I'm like, okay, I thought it was going to go one way and it went all the way the other way.
Yeah. I'm actually finding, even though I watched this movie pretty recently, I'm finding it's hard to recall all of these details because it's so insane. There's like so much. It's such a stew of so many different things.
Yeah.
That there's certain things you guys are mentioning that I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You got to rewatch it tonight.
I watched it like last week. That's great. I mean, I'm always usually a little bit high when I watch movies too. So
yeah, right. Well, I was watching it last night at like 11 o'clock. So I'm recalling right off.
Well, I just wanted to shout out Vitamin C really quick. He was the regular who was eating at the bar, the vegetarian who was just constantly burping and farting.
Oh,
and
yes.
then throws up all over
and
everybody.
like being assaulted, and he just kept coming back.
Yep, and that throw up scene. Oh, when everybody's throwing up. God.
Yeah.
It was wild from start to finish, like wild.
And I came up with it just like specifically doing a Google search of absurd horror 80s films.
Okay.
And
was it number 2 on the list?
Oh, I
had to be right up there.
I don't know exactly what order I got to it in, but I mean, and I the last year I've watched a lot of movies like this.
We all Alexa loves probably horror now just because of Ray and us forcing it on her physically. But what genre, since you're a horror aficionado, would you have a specific genre that you like best, or a time frame, or do
You're asking me like besides horror?
No, like in the horror realm. In the horror realm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to...
And it's okay if you say no. Is there something you gravitate to more, or that your heart just kind of is like, oh, that's one of my favorite things? But like...
I like supernatural horror movies. Although there's a whole kind of subgenre of like specifically sort of religious and Catholic supernatural horror movies, like, where it's kind of like there's a demon possession, you have
like
to get
Omen
the priest
or something,
Exorcist,
like that.
Yeah,
Exorcist.
which I do like some of those movies, but sometimes they can be a little bit formulaic, a little bit I don't know. But I like when
predictable.
I really love, actually, if I have to pick a favorite, it's cosmic horror. Now that I think
like
about it
Aliens, that kind of thing.
Alien, the first Alien is one of my, maybe my favorite movie.
It is a great
ever.
movie. It's a great movie.
So like sci-fi horror, but also horror that isn't necessarily sci-fi, but is like goes into the realms of like completely unexplainable phenomenon or things that are just like Lovecraftian. In the Mouth of Madness is one directed by John Carpenter. That's a good example.
I've heard of that.
That's on my list.
Okay, I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, basically anything that is like in the movie, these characters' brains literally break because they cannot like fathom what they're experiencing.
Right.
I love that shit. I can't get enough
that's
of
a
it.
good one.
Yeah.
Would you think? Because I know Mickey likes this, and Alexa hasn't seen it, but what'd you think of Obsession?
Oh yeah, I loved it. It was really fun.
I loved it. That movie just blew up, bigger than
it's huge.
Anything that anybody could have predicted. It made more money its second week, and then more money its third week. And that hadn't happened since like E.T., like
think
over 40 years.
I heard something crazy, and I don't know if somebody should fact check this, but relative to its budget, it might be the most profitable movie of all time.
It's got to be in the top 3.
It's got like Blair Witch type-esque,
Yes.
like
it's made
like a cultural phenomenon.
cultural
basically.
phenomenon, exactly.
I think it made almost, I did the math the last time I checked how much it made. Worldwide, it made almost 500 times its budget.
Good gravy.
Yeah, it's actually crazy.
So they made it for $750,000. The only known person in it was Andy Richter,
Yeah.
who is a sidekick to Conan O'Brien for his talk show.
Right.
Right.
And he was in it for 30 seconds.
I sort of forgot
Yeah.
he was like the manager of that
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But the writing was good. It was your typical be careful what you wish for type of thing. But it felt fresh. These young actors, all in their 20s, they did really well. The script was good. The main girl, Indy Navarrete, she was excellent.
Bear was good.
Bear was good. She acted the heck out of that. She's super cute. She just got cast as Rogue in the upcoming X-Men movie, so she's going to go on and do big stuff.
I have one more question for you. This is one of my other favorite movies. That's horror and it's kind of sci-fi-ish. What is your feelings on Slither?
Oh.
Yeah, we watched that a couple months ago for this. Yep.
I haven't seen Slither in forever. I watched it years ago, and I remember it being really fun and funny and gross.
Yeah.
So I have good a recollection of.
Okay.
Well, my recollection is not great, but
You
I
have to rewatch it and give me your
feelings for
opinion.
it.
It's one of my favorites.
Is that a sci-fi original? Why do I feel like that is?
Was it James Gunn?
James
His
Gunn
first?
directed it.
Oh, really?
That was his first feature.
first feature.
I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think.
Interesting. Yeah. No, it's kind of been forever since I watched it.
Came
But
out
I remember
20
it
years
having
ago.
like a lot
Yeah.
of really good gags and using like the gross out factor really well.
Yeah, and I like how you were like, it was just blowing their minds what they were seeing, and that was part of
Yeah.
what I thought was fun in it. Like the one part when he says, this is the far. She says, Jesus Christ. He's like, this is the farthest thing from Jesus Christ I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, Nathan Fillion. Yeah, I'm looking it
Yeah.
up now.
So-
it actually has some pretty big
Yeah.
names.
Michael
in it.
Rooker.
Elizabeth
Elizabeth
Banks.
You have to
Elizabeth
rewatch
Banks.
it and give me your opinion.
Yeah.
Love having fellow horror fans on.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, this was wild. If you want to see some wild shows, people, look up
Yes,
some of these
yes.
and watch them. They were wild.
You were wild.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for inviting me. This was super fun.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
talking about, all kind of movies, but especially these like really weird, culty
Love it.
horror movies. And
Yes.
I will, if you like, a couple movies that came to mind when I was watching Blood Diner. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Frankenhooker, but I would recommend that.
I haven't seen it, but I've come across it.
I think
Yep.
you will really like it.
Okay.
Also, the movie Pieces. It reminded me of it. I actually hate that movie, but
I feel like I've seen that. Was this also 80s or early
I
90s?
think it's 80s, and I want to say I don't know if it's Italian or just an Italian
I
director,
think
or maybe
I've
it's not,
seen
but
this.
it feels reminiscent of certain like Italian slashers. But it's kind of a similar premise of like assembling body parts and stuff. I think it's like really mean spirited, and I actually really dislike it. But
Okay.
fans of these types of movies sometimes really like it.
1982,
Okay.
Frankenhooker is more fun, I think. That's a Henenlotter movie that is like very campy and goofy, and has a bunch of great lines. It's definitely like a horror comedy that if you like Blood Diner or really any of these movies, I feel like you'll probably like that too.
All right. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for being on, Jonathan.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I was thinking, who are some more guests we can have on? And I was thinking, I know a dude who loves horror, and I haven't seen him in a little while. Let's have him on. We had Nick on a couple months ago.
Yep, I saw that.
That was fun. Yeah, he knows Nick.
Okay.
Part of their Imaginos workshop.
I'm collecting more
Collective.
friends through the podcast.
Cool. Nice.
I don't clean all their teeth, but if you're looking,
She can give you a discount. All right, folks. Thank you for listening to It Came from the Discount Bin. And, of course, I am Andrew Walker with
Alexa.
Jonathan.
Mickey Jackson.
Mickey Jackson. All right, folks. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out.